the whole TikTok thing is the algorithm brought you here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people that all the time.
Welcome to the Asset Arsenal podcast. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Jack Silver. He's a TikTok creator known for his live sand casting and poured silver art, but Jack's just not about silver. He runs a yearly contest called Meltdown 2025 and even built his own AI to CAD software to craft 3D print-ready designs. Let's jump in and hear Jack's story. Jack, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm honored.
Yeah, really excited. This is actually our premiere. This is going to be our first episode with you. And so I'm glad that it worked out. You know, we've known each other known of each other. We talked back and forth. You've purchased from us at Hero Bullion,
almost
obviously.
5 years.
Yeah, it's been quite a few years. And so I think I saw an order come through from you, and I just kind of like, I saw the name Jack Silver, and I think I just kind of Googled it, and I'm like, whoa, okay, this guy's on TikTok. And then I started joining your lives a little bit here to the Hero Bullion account, and just kind of watched you, occasionally throughout the years. And the one thing I noticed is you are incredibly dedicated to the TikTok platform and going live on TikTok in particular, like super frequently. So I got a couple questions to get us started here. Yeah. I want to hear your story about how you even got into silver. Have you been a lifetime silver person? Is this kind of a new thing for you? Where does that come from?
I think I should start out with the warning.
Okay.
I got my first round first roll of buffalo rounds.
Uh-huh.
And that's like a gateway drug for silver stackers, because it can be, not everybody.
Yeah.
But that was like kind of it for me. That and watching Silver Dragons on YouTube. I picked up on another guy called Big Red Bullion on YouTube. He was the first guy that actually I saw teaching the sand casting and the mold making.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really kind of where I got picked up into pouring into graphite molds. There's a evolutionary process to this addiction. And when it starts with those buffalo rolls for a lot of people, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And then, when you get into pouring, it's fun just pouring bars and, maybe getting a stamp and stamping them, right?
Right.
And then you get into casting, and I've seen people grow into lost wax, and they get 3D printers, and it's just this huge process of everything that entails that they grow into. Yeah. And seeing that happen for people, I think, is what's been the most exciting. I've enjoyed it for myself, but I don't do everything that a lot of these artists do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them have everything, in-house, and they can create art. They can create their prints, their statues, put them in the molds, and really come out with some beautiful, beautiful stuff. And if you've got that addiction,
yeah,
that started with those buffalo rolls, I swear it does.
Mm-hmm.
And you really, really kind of get carried away with it. It becomes part of everyday life. Imagine if I wasn't pouring, I would just be sitting there playing with stacks and listening to the sound of the stacks.
I suppose it is definitely an addiction. It becomes that way. We see all the time people hiding it from their significant other, their habit, if you will. Right. And so, yeah, I think it's natural for it to start with the buffalo rounds. But you mentioned pouring. You're talking like open air graphite mold pouring, kind of like you've seen us do here. You were here a couple days ago and toured our facility and saw what we do. We do the open air pours into the graphite molds just for like really functionally purposed bars. And so did you start doing that?
Yeah. And I still do that because it's a great low cost alternative. Yeah. Especially, when you come from a stacking state of mind and then you start collecting and you're cost averaging, and you've got this balance between your stackables and your collectibles, stuff you really enjoy. I enjoy stacking, but I enjoy the art and the collectible side of it more. So I'm a little lopsided on my cost averaging there, but that's because I enjoy it. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's not a total investment state of mind, when you're making art.
Okay, so you started with the open air pours like we did, and then what did you move on to? Just like sand casting, but open air? Because I've seen that. I went to a meetup with a bunch of people off of Instagram. And this has to be like 3 years ago that I went there, and they were just doing it on the back patio. They rented like an Airbnb. It was with Stackin' NYC, Tommy, you know him. Gold Spartan was there. Silver Steve Austin was there. So it was a big meetup, and it was, the reason I went is because it was only 45 minutes away from here, right? MK Bars was there, Michael Cabrin. So I'm sure you're familiar with him. And you had a bunch of these poor artists out there on the back patio with the clay, pressing in the impressions, you know, heating up the silver, pouring into essentially like open air but graphite. Did you evolve to that and then go to the full cask as we see here?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it started. I was watching Silver Dragons on Friday nights. He would do pour party.
I remember that.
And I'll be honest, watching him sell, ounces, for 75 to 150 and up sometimes, for some of his cool limited, stamped pieces was inspiring. And so, that part of it too, because being I've always had the sales gene. I grew up with that. And I grew up with more of like the corporate kind of mentality. It's a dog eat dog. It's, you crush your competition.
Mm-hmm.
And after I retired from all that and had my own business, it became more apparent that it was more community. Now in the music world, we had great music community, mm-hmm. and there's a lot of support for each other. But being on the corporate side of that, it was totally opposite. So, and I had much more of that, I think, coming into this. So my first goal was I bought 10 ounces and, I poured the rounds and wanted to flip it. Mm-hmm. And then I bought 20 ounces and then just kept doing that over and over. So when it got into the, learning how to do the sand casting, I really do feel like it was kind of just a natural evolution. If you want to keep doing it and you're going to keep it interesting and stay mm-hmm. creative and just do something different. It also, with the balance of the cost thing too, I was talking about before, it's like, when just pouring the graphite mold, you can provide something that's a lower cost to your followers. And then also at the same time have something for the collectors. So that was really kind of how it graduated from going from one to the other. I do mostly the sand casting now, but this year I started a bullion box, and I got really into Mod Podging. When you're retired, you could pick up all these little creative little crafts, right? Yeah. So, or mentally retired, I call myself, because you never really stop doing anything.
Right.
But I started Mod Podging these little craft boxes, little wooden boxes, putting the artwork that's on the piece and or on the stamp on the box, and I'd put like 10 of those, 8 to 10 of those in a box, or 7 to 8 of those in a box, an 8-ounce bullion box. And that was a great have a nice little low cost thing. It's a couple bucks over spot, and having that, I think, really helps keep both types of minded people involved with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you've got the board stuff, you got the artsy, maybe bullion, type of design stuff with your reliefs on it, and then you got statues.
So one of the things that you mentioned was, watching the guys on YouTube. Obviously, I've seen you on both Instagram and TikTok. Let's talk a little bit about TikTok and like either maybe how you discovered the platform or why you decided to start. I call it working, but why you decided to start spending so much time on TikTok? Because I think I told you earlier, I'll be on the way driving home and I'll just pull up your live, and just have it on the center console down there so I can hear the conversation and you engaging with the people. How did that come about, the whole TikTok?
I apologize for that because I don't have much of a filter when I do those lives. You know what I mean? So there can be some stupid stuff that really comes out of that, but some of it can be pretty funny.
For sure.
I have a deep down desire to want to be a stand-up comedian in my older years. So
nice.
And I think that the TikTok thing, though, has been a whirlwind, and it all started on YouTube. So what I did is I documented the first year of learning on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from the corporate world, I still had like things ingrained in me, you know, like the Guitar Center. We used to do like the Guitar Mageddon or the Drum Off. And so in my first year of pouring, recognizing that there's a great community here and there's a lot of new people that want to get into this, let's do a meltdown. It was very political at that time. All right. It was actually called the Biden Meltdown.
Wow. Okay. So wait, what year was this?
2021.
2021. Okay.
Yeah. So the Biden Meltdown, I sent copper rounds. I bought a bunch of the Biden copper rounds.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent them out to all the participants. So they got in, they registered. I sent them the rounds, and that was their mission to build back better. They would melt the rounds into something better. That lasted for about 3 years. And the fourth year, I kind of decided to get away from the whole politicized idea behind it.
Right.
Even though it was a great inspiration, it was fun at the time. It just didn't really kind of match with the whole message, you know, of unity.
Yeah,
so
I suppose,
this is the 5th annual Meltdown this year. The first 3 years they were judged. So I had guys like Johnny Cox, like Lockerman type of individuals, Pit Bullion, Precious Metal Bulls. They were like the judges. Try to get the OGs to judge the new pour artists.
Okay.
And then, and that was okay. But judging is like judging somebody's art, and you always have a bunch of people that feel burned.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I kind of knew that from before. Like some of the drum offs was brutal with the parents and the kid lost.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, and I like to have parents in my office, you know, and having to put damage control on that because a judge was 1 point different or something stupid like that. But
yeah,
so we turned it into a participation event. So every Friday, you'll see, if you're on TikTok, you see a bunch of hashtag 2025 Meltdown event. And those connections with the hashtag really do a lot for the community. And when we boost just the awareness, you know, so that's the opposite of that corporate mentality. It's just we want to share as much as we can. We want to, you know, get as many new people and bring new people into it as we can. And that's what really TikTok did more than Instagram or YouTube for me. For me, I would say if I would have worked YouTube or Instagram as hard as I worked TikTok, it probably wouldn't have been any different. You know, but TikTok was just, when I finally, I was totally, didn't want to do it. A friend of mine was like, oh, 75% of my business is on TikTok. And he had a fishing business down in the Bay, Corpus.
Okay.
And he told me that for 6 months. And finally, I'm just like, okay, I got a TikTok account. And I post a couple of videos a day. About 6 months, I think it took. Got 1,000 followers. And then I started going live.
Yeah.
And then so doing the live and just doing the sand casting process live, got a lot of people that were didn't know anything about it, you know, into it. You know, some people like me, they were a little bit familiar with it. Maybe they bought a roll of buffalo around or whatever. And so it's just TikTok was really, really, I think, very friendly as far as making the connections for me for some reason.
It's just a good platform for it. I mean, the live functionality, the chat, the engagement you can get from the audience or, you know, from the viewers. And I you know, I was thinking about your Meltdown when you were describing it. I don't think I really understood what it was before just now, right? Obviously, I've explored about it, but the history is helpful. So it kind of reminds me of some of these shows you see on TV where, like, I think about Inked, okay? Right? You have like the masters judging the up and comers, right? The people who are trying to make a name for themselves. I like that concept, but I get where you're coming from. People getting burned. So you feel like you're like this year, you're at a place where you feel like the result is going to be equitable or fair, or like the best man or woman's going to win? Or
last year was it. We dialed it in last year.
You did get it. Okay.
We nailed it, and we had 30 ounces in donations. We had 12. think we had 9 participants finish last year. We started with 10, finished with 9. This year we started with 12. We have 11.
Okay.
And, you know, everybody asked me, when's the Meltdown? When's the Meltdown? I'm like, well, the Meltdown, the registration goes from April 15th to August 15th.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of time to kind of think about it and have something prepared. August 15th, the registration's closed. From that point, every Friday, the participants get their chances for the sponsor silver by posting those videos and using the 2 tags. They tag at Drone Silver 999 or the Jack Silver 999S.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. And then they do the hashtag 2025 Meltdown. And so I get the mentions every Friday. I keep their points on a spreadsheet,
mm-hmm.
and those chances all go in toward the giveaway. And the October 15th is the deadline. They have to submit their silver pour
mm-hmm.
by October 15th. And then I make sure I verify everything. I make sure everything is pure silver.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first week in November, we do an auction. And they set the price, the starting price on their piece. And this year, out of the 11 artists, I think 8 of them are doing 2 submissions.
Ah.
So they have a large and a small, so there's different categories.
Okay.
Last year we had lost wax, 2-sided molds, and single-sided molds. This year, we didn't have anybody in the lost wax category. Last year we had 2 people lost wax. And I don't see either of them doing anything anymore. So it's kind of like a lot of the folks would come back if they had been in previous ones, and if they weren't in the next event, they would sponsor it.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like they graduated.
Yeah. So I'm curious about where are these people coming from? Do you feel like a good chunk of these people who are entering the contest are coming from watching you on TikTok and learning it that way? Or
now that's absolutely the case. Instagram, I made a lot of good connections the first year and a half on Instagram, and that's really kind of where I got the sense of the community, and not just in the pours. Not just in the pours, but in the stacking, because there's a lot of overlap in this community. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about it, because I'm personally learning something new pretty much every day.
Yeah.
You have, the stackers, you got the pour artists, you've got the smelters, the guys that are smelters. We started a lot. This is the first year I started to see a lot more smelters who are breaking down the circuit boards. I mean, they're taking it from the very beginning. They're recycling it. They're getting their metals. They're making their crystal, and now they're starting to pour stuff. We have 2 smelters in the group this year.
Nice, taking it all the way, man. So I remember years ago, I got introduced to a company that was their business, breaking down motherboards, things like that. They had one of those big machines that just chopped everything up. Right, you throw everything in there, and it just bites it, chews it all up and spits it out in, a million different pieces. I thought that was pretty incredible, because I didn't realize it's one of those things you don't even realize there's an economy around recycling electronics, basically, right? So to see those guys, like, where are these guys getting these? Are they going to yard sales? Or are they going to
wherever they can? Yeah. I had the guy that took over the drone shop for me in Ohio. I hit him up a couple months ago, and I'm like, hey, you got a lot of drone boards still? I mean, back in the day, we had boxes and boxes of old boards, circuit boards. And he was like, yeah, I've got boxes of them in the back. We're trying to figure out what to do with them. And I'm like, I'll take them.
Yeah.
Just send them to me. I'll pay for the shipping.
Yep.
And we procrastinated. They procrastinated on it. And I followed up with him. The second time I followed up, he was like, DJ is going to buy the boards back from us now.
Shoot.
Only certain ones, though. You can have the rest. And I'm like, yeah, the ones that they don't want are the ones that don't have anything in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they wanted them back, so they could recycle them.
Yeah. Yeah. A big part of our business has been the buyback side right now, with precious metals spot prices being so high. People are unloading stuff. So I know that that side of the business has grown substantially for a lot of companies, ourselves included, right? I mean, it's a big part of what we've been doing lately is this buyback, which for me is it's one of the things I've always appreciated about precious metals, like what you do and what we do when we melt down silver. Like you could take an ounce of gold, a 1 ounce Asahi gold bar, 1 ounce Valcambi gold bar, melt that thing down and pour it into a button or a round or whatever, and it's maintained the value. There's very little in this world that you can actually do that kind of stuff with. You know,
Good point.
You take anything out of a store and you destroy it, and the value's completely lost, right? And so I don't know. I just always have appreciated that about precious metals. Like you can turn it into whatever kind of form you want, essentially. I mean, and people are proving that just constantly now. I mean, I see it. You know, the algorithm gets a hold of you on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. I've been seeing a lot on TikTok lately. Just these people who are auctioning coins on TikTok. They're there all day, even though the platform isn't necessarily built for it, like a Whatnot or something. We've had a couple conversations with the people at Whatnot, and I don't feel like it's quite the platform for us right now. They do take, you know, a kind of a bigger cut. Our business is not built on big margins. It's a low margin business. And so I'd imagine yours is similar, especially when you consider the labor and your craft that's involved in it. Like it's kind of hard to value, you know, I guess you could be real clinical about it and say, well, I'm spending this much time. Here's what I need to sell this stuff for, you know, whatever. But, yeah, I guess I've always appreciated that about precious metals. It's like they maintain their value.
Well, there's like a magic too. It's like, you know, when you see, you know, somebody, you know, sell an ounce for 3 or 4 times of its melt value, you know, it can be deceiving. Because, you know, it's not a get rich quick business. You're right. You have to turn a lot of volume in metals. I don't think it's really much different with the pours, because I don't make many of anything. So I have to make a lot of different things in order to stay relative in a way, if you're going to keep doing it. That's why I think you see a lot of people get in, they have it to hobby, they get into it, and then, you know, they move on to the next hobby. It's not cheap. You got to have, you know, a good chunk of money to invest to get started, especially with the metals portion of it. You know, back when it was $19, $20 an ounce, didn't seem like as much. Now that it's 40, it eats into what you're doing, and it has slowed me down on, you know, mentally, I think, more than anything, an occasion. You know, I built a small group of followers that are the diehards. You know, like I don't think that when you see 10,000 or 30,000 or 40,000 followers on TikTok, a lot of that's not real. I think there's a lot of bots. It's the diehard group of, you know, anywhere from 50 to 100 people. You know, as a creator, if I can keep that relationship maintained and maybe I get to know them as a person. You know, I think this is where most of the value is, and a creator can sustain and, you know, actually, you know, enjoy, you know, a good livelihood without having to be like, I feel like I have to pound the pavement all the time. And maybe that's just because I'm older and retired and did that. You know, I did 15-hour days for 30 years. So now it's like reeling back, and after escaping it, you feel like you escaped it after a certain point. It's just a matter of like, you know, what do I want for myself? And everybody goes through that. And, you know, it's all about the amount of work you do.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to, you know, to do a high volume flip, I just got to work harder.
Yeah.
You know, make more contacts and keep hitting the pavement like that.
Yep. So, so I've watched your lives dozens of times, obviously, over the past, I don't know, 3-4 years, whatever it is. And explain to me like what your setup is like. You're outside because I can see the sun, I can hear the birds, or you know, like when you're on live, it's a real like organic kind of feel. Like I envision you. Tell me if this is true or not. You got a table set up out there. You're outdoors or maybe under an awning or something, but it's open air and it's just a dude vibe there. When I watch you, I feel like this dude's just living his dream, man.
I don't like having my face on the screen. All right. So I like the hands. That was another thing about silver dragons that I really enjoyed was his camera angle. You never saw his face. You only saw his hands working. So that camera angle is really, really crucial to me. I have a hard time hitting that red button to go live. I do. It's like a stage. It's like a stage.
Really? And you've done it hundreds of times.
And it's still.
What is that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know,
That's
man.
crazy.
But I could go live a lot more than I do if it weren't for that little switch in my brain that's like, I don't have to right now. I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna kick back and play with the dogs or whatever. You know? But no, it's like, and then you get motivated, and then it's like I kind of push my point to a point where it's like, oh, you have to do something. You know, you can't just do nothing today. You gotta push yourself and do that. So I go through all of that still. So it's like it's the mentally retired thing. You know, it's like I
you don't have to,
but I want to, and then so it's like you gotta get that inspirato. You know, I'm always searching for the inspiration.
I wonder if it's you know, do you feel like a responsibility to the community?
Absolutely. Yeah, you do. It grows. That grows.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I'm just thinking if that was me, where would my head be? I would definitely be that way. It's hard to make content. You know, you have to be like really vulnerable. And I think it only works if you're yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think people can see, especially with the amount of time that you spend on there, you know, if it wasn't you, I don't think it would work, you know? And honestly, that's one of the things that like drew me to like reach out to you. I think you're a really interesting guy, right? You know, just the more I learn about you, I'm like, man, this guy's got some crazy stories, and probably a couple stories you shared with us that you probably shouldn't share here. But
save that for my lives when I turn my filter off.
Yeah. We'll save that. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that like drew me, or like keeps me watching your show, is like, you're just like a really interesting character, you know? Like I love the engagement of the community. Every time I go on your lives, I see like, you know, these followers. Hey, I'm making one of the cool things I saw was you were you're actually pouring these double-sided molds. I don't know what you call them. We're working on that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you're pouring these live for a viewer that's in the show right there. So like for them to witness like the genesis, the making of their own product. I mean, that's an experience.
Yeah, that's a great part of it. As a matter of fact, that's kind of when I first really started doing it, that was a selling point. You know, watch me pour it. You know, record it if you want. You know, I think a lot of people do like that. And now it's with the software and, you know, the ease of creation and creating something that comes to mind when I'm not working or pouring or making molds. It's all getting that next idea or that next inspiration. It could be, you know, just a one-liner from a show I'm watching. It could be a lot of it lately has been followers going, hey, I would love to see this, or can you do this for me? Or my dad was in the service. Can you put him on a coin? And so now that's really starting to pick up. And not just for me, the whole community is doing more custom stuff as we get more people using the software. Not everybody, that was a big, I think, motivation for the software was the having to outsource an artist if you don't draw, or if you're not, you know, really good on Photoshop. You would have to outsource for the relief, get somebody to have that had a CAD program and knowledge to use CAD to make that for you. And now it's because of the technology moving so fast.
Right.
I wish I could say I created it. I had the idea behind it. My son is the coding genius.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. You've referred to it a couple times, the software. And we're starting to hear about the story. Like I know it as Mint Forged is the software. Like explain
Mint Forged.
Explain. Obviously, we know a little bit about where it comes from. Like what was the evolution of that, and what is Mint Forged?
So Mint Forged is basically it generates relief for your artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Take a piece of artwork that's shaded properly. You do have to have like a 3D relief ready image. It can be a photo that you take. You can put it right in there.
I've seen some of those like super realistic photos. You just drop them in and it brings the relief there, and you can manipulate it up and down.
Yeah. So that's really nice to have something that's easy, because I've always been a computer guy, but then after I retired, I literally didn't use a computer for 5 years. It's just a phone.
Yeah.
And I got the computer again. My other part of it, my son passed me up so fast. I gave him computer parts when he was 8, and I'm like, build it, and he did. And then he built 4 more for his friends. He was building gaming computers, and then we got into, when we had the drone office, we had about 3,000 square feet, and I took one of the rooms and I paid a guy, an electrician, to put 24 big sockets in, so we could have a mining farm.
Oh.
So we had at one point we had 35 machines making Litecoin, and we convert that to Bitcoin, and then that would go right into our account, and it was like printing money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, this is amazing. He did all that.
Mm-hmm.
All I had to do would be the guy that had the account.
Yeah.
And
bless it and fund it. And he does all the hard work.
It was crazy because, it generated so much heat. That's a whole nother story I'll say from someday. But the electricity, our electricity bills in 2 different locations was like $2,500 for running all those machines.
Dang.
But each machine was generating like $1,000 in Bitcoin a month. So it was crazy. And then Bitcoin crashed. And then the electricity bills were more than what we were. So we just shut it all down, pulled everything out. And that, I think, was like when silver came after that for me. So
you were doing the drone stuff.
I was doing.
So wait, what year roughly was this?
This was in 2015 to 2017.
Okay, I remember that run up. What was it? December 2016, Bitcoin kind of peaked.
Yeah,
and there was crazy liquidity issues. I got in Bitcoin at like 40. I want to say like 4,700, and I had to exit there. I was trying to exit at like 21, I think is what it was. It was right. I remember it was right before Christmas. And you couldn't get the sell orders to go through because the network was burdened. I remember that. Then when I finally did cash out, I think it was like $18,000 or something on Bitcoin. And then we actually took that money at our house and we remodeled the bathroom and did a bunch of other work. We used to call it our Bitcoin bathroom, right? So okay,
he and I go back to that because but with the Mint Forged, it was like that was the evolutionary process for us. Him building computers as a kid, us getting into the Bitcoin. When we were running the drone shop, I gave him all my broken gimbals. Every time somebody crashed a drone, that's the first thing they would break is the camera on the front of the drone. Of
course.
And
it's the first thing that hits the ground because it's the lowest point. Or why did those break most? I don't know.
They're fragile.
Just the most fragile part.
The gears on them are fragile. They make them a lot better now, but they're harder to crash.
Yeah, well, I saw you come in this morning with this DJI shirt, and I'm like, what? I have a DJI gimbal that I got off of Amazon, or I don't know. And I love the thing. It's incredible. I'm just, I'm not super proficient in it or anything like that, but I can tell it's like a high quality gimbal. I have the app on my phone here, the DJI app, and I fire that up and gimbal goes to work and the thing's amazing.
Well, I gave them all to him because he had small hands. Because he was, when we started it, he was 13 and he actually had the idea for the drone business. And, so when it came time for him to take over the business, and I was ready during COVID, I was ready to exit.
Yeah,
and I just wanted to get out. I couldn't go into a grocery store. I felt like without getting harassed because my mask wasn't positioned right or something stupid like that. It was really bad. And then so I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. So we bought the RV and we started traveling in the RV during COVID. And I let the kids run the business for a little bit, and thinking that my son would take it over. But another tech that I had working for me there, Roger, he was actually the one that took it to the next level since I left. So Ohio Drone Repair is like top 2 in the country now for drones. All of DJI North America repairs go to Ohio Drone Repair now.
Okay, so DJI doesn't just do gimbals; they're doing drones.
But most of it is law enforcement and police.
Right. So these are. I mean, like, what kind of price point are you talking? Like
10 to 35,000.
10K to 35K that they're working on, and these are drones that first responders or police, SWAT teams use, stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, from small to big, and they are using a drone. They're demoing now. It's like the size of a small car. It delivers 125-pound crate payload, which was pretty impressive when I went to it. I just went to visit the new shop, and he's got like 5,000 square feet. And it's you walk into the showroom, and he's got 2 drones the size of cars in there. It's really exciting. It's kind of cool.
So we were just at we were just at Walmart, just in Garland, close here, right? 15 minutes away from us, and you hear this buzzing. It's constant buzzing, and you look over, and there's a fenced off area in the parking lot with drones for delivery. And so, like, do you have any idea what a drone like that costs? Like a Walmart drone?
I mean, they're probably not too expensive. You can, for example, my first drone that I had in 2014, the whole package cost about $5,000. And this is just like any other technology. In 1980, my father bought a Texas Instruments professional computer for $5,000. And that computer had 256K of RAM. Okay, so now that drone that I bought for $5,000 in 2014, it's garbage.
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
It's beyond obsolete.
Just like the TI from 1980. Yeah, right. It was great to learn basic programming on, but after that, it's a couple of decades, and not even that really, and it's obsolete. Right. So now the taking it kind of back into that whole, it kind of goes back for me to that evolutionary process of growth. And no matter really what you're doing, everything kind of takes those different stages to finally build up to whatever it is you're working toward. And, you can set goals, and you can have a mindset of what you want to achieve. But really, until you're actually just out there doing it every day, you don't really know. And that's really all it's going to take. So it's like we had all those little things, that took place from the time he put together a computer to the time it's like for 3 years, I'm struggling mentally, because I want to produce something that I can't produce for the cost that I want to produce it at. And that's really where technology solves all the problem. So we just, finally got to a point where we could use that. And honestly, it's the AI tools that have helped us get there. He and I both have done HTML or basic coding, and learned that on our own from reading scripts and taking out sections of a website to figure out how they did something. But now with AI, it's almost brainless. It's like you just have to. No, like AI doesn't necessarily give you the ideas that you need. You can build it, and it'll say, "Oh, great job! Oh, that's a wonderful idea! Oh, you're perfect!" And then it's like, and then I'll think of something that I didn't think of a half hour ago, and it's like, "Oh, perfect!" And I'm thinking to myself, "You're AI. Why didn't you think of that?"
Yeah.
So
not there yet.
They still need actually us. Is.
Oh, it is.
You just have to know how to talk to it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So when I kind of got through that, I, instead of just demanding an answer every time or a result every time I put something in, after I put my prompt in, I put, let's discuss. And that is where I get more of the interaction and coming up with ideas that it's having ideas. So it's not just me telling it what to do. It's more of a back and forth.
Yeah, I guess, I've leveraged those types of prompts as well, where, I'll throw an idea, and I'll say, and I'll challenge it to ask me questions till you fully understand this or have all the information you need. And, it usually results in a back and forth, essentially a conversation with the AI, which is, it's crazy. I've used the voice mode with ChatGPT, and I do it in front of my wife and kids sometimes just to trip them out because they're not there yet, and I'm like, well, I need help. I need a sounding board. I need, honestly, even the name of the podcast here, Asset Arsenal, I thought about calling it the Hero Bullion Podcast. And I was like, well, we're not just going to be talking about bullion. We're going to be talking about a bunch of other things. It's more meant to be a conversation. And I have other interests outside of bullion as well. And so I was like, man, I gotta think of something. So we're focusing here on, I look at gold and silver as an alternative asset. I mean, it's not properly that, but I think a lot of people look at it that way. So I said, okay, well, what other things can we talk about? So we have some really interesting stuff coming, but that's where the name Asset Arsenal came from, is a conversation with ChatGPT, just throwing stuff back and forth. Okay, I like this. I don't like how this sounds, or, I want something that doesn't pigeonhole us into a certain area of conversation. And so it's that kind of stuff that I think it's been really helpful to me. Just kind of like getting the creative juices flowing, things like that. So we were talking here the other day, and I just had mentioned how it's so interesting to me, this intersection of what I called lasers and lava, right? We have these lasers. We have a 3D printer here where we're making some of these. Shoot, where is it? It's behind. Where's the mold?
The 3D print?
Yeah. Is that the print? Yeah. Okay. It looks silver to me. Yeah. So we got this 3D print that we made with our resin printer, right? And the machine is not like prohibitive in cost to do this. I think we spent less than $500 on this machine. And then we used your MintForge technology, the MintForge software. You helped us generate the art. Obviously, I'm Scandinavian, and so I love everything Scandinavian. And so we had some interesting text messages back and forth, and like, man, we should do something together. So we came up, you came up with this product, or I guess we did in a little bit, a little bit collaboration. But, I think I'm really excited about it. I think it's gonna be a really cool project. So just explain like the workflow to get to this point. Like, how are you interacting with the MintForge software to get that kind of result?
So there's, and think about it. There's three ways we can get our art. We can have somebody draw it.
Yeah.
And I have a person in a hand make it out, or do it with a computer. And then, then I've got the tools inside MintForge that's called Relief Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like an app within the app. And that you can put a prompt in, and it will generate, an image. The better you are at putting a prompt in, the better image you get.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, separately, I also use ChatGPT for images. So I've got three basic go-tos, and I'm kind of short. Not really. There's more. I have a couple of different apps that I'll use for art generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, one app, they all do something different.
They all have strengths and weaknesses, which is really interesting to me. But I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Like they're different products.
ChatGPT is the best one for total control.
Mm-hmm.
The Imagine app that I use for creating, relief ready images is okay, but it doesn't remember what I tell it. With ChatGPT, it like remembers everything.
It can reference history, previous conversations, previous prompts, styles, all that. Yeah.
And for the last few months, as I work with it, making sure, like when I say, I just want a relief ready vision for MintForged of this. And that's all I have to do now because I've trained it. It knows all of the things that exist in the prompt, and the relief vision in the app is the same way, in the sense that I don't have to build a prompt to create the relief from the CAD aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It does all that for me. Now I have to just put my subject matter. And it really does make a difference. So, like, for example, let's say I had an angel playing a harp. I'm going to probably get a decent image of an angel playing a harp.
Mm-hmm.
But if I put a heavenly angel playing a magical harp, now all of a sudden it's got more detail than
got character
you didn't think about, right? And that's why I created this prompt vision, or this relief vision prompt book. Because I thought, have something that's valuable for my subscribers that can kind of help them, visualize what AI needs to see in order to develop what they're asking. Mm-hmm. Initially, when I first started it, it's like, somebody requested recently, it's like almost like a state logo with some numbers on it. And then it's got, 5 or 6 different elements in the idea. So, and each one of those elements has to be placed in a certain spot. And I've been using the relief vision a lot, mostly because I'm trying to basically see the best way to talk to it. Mm-hmm. And I'm figuring that out. Because it's like you can literally take a prompt and put, something in the middle center on the top, something bigger and larger in the middle, 2 things flanking the side of that. And all you're doing is explaining, I want this first, middle, left, and you have to be very precise in your language. If you are short in your language or you skip something, it could literally, skip that and make up something on its own.
Is there such a thing as like too much information? Like if you try to lead it too much and it's gonna,
convoluted,
more or less kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. There's a balance.
Yeah. So it's a skill on your side for sure. I mean, it's still a skill is what I'm trying to get at, I guess.
It is. Yeah.
It's still a skill. It's just like anything, garbage in, garbage out, right? When it comes to technology. So, okay. So you mentioned hand-drawn art. I'm assuming there's also like photos. I've seen in your library some like just straight photos that they have the proper shading that relief vision, right, can work with.
So that's the first part of our workflow. We got to have a good we got a good image, something that's going to translate with the lows and the highs in the relief. Typically it's the bright part of the image is the high point, the dark part of the image is the low.
Right.
Once I have that image created, basically with MintForged, all you're going to do is hit browse, go to your downloads, open up the image, hit preview, and
super
3
simple.
seconds you've got your relief. It's done.
Super simple.
Now at that point, there are some tools in the user interface that allow you to change the size, the shape, the level of the relief. If you want to make a really high relief on the right piece of art, you can.
And that's probably where a bunch of the learning curve is in interacting with the software.
Sure,
it's like, okay, that's where it's going to take it from a 7 to a 10. In other words, in my mind, at least that's how I
absolutely
it.
The smoothing. It's so it's kind of funny because after it's only been out for 3 or 4 months, there's no manual. There's a couple of tutorials that I made when I first released it, but really the last 3 months I've been spending my time learning it or getting good at it, and the people who are teaching people to use it. So I've taught a couple of individuals. We do a TikTok live called Forge My Relief, and it's a great tool for interaction because I've got people in the chat telling me, I want this or I want that. And we make it right there and boom, it's instant. And then I'll put it on a website that you can sell the STL files.
Yeah.
And then they can go on there and they can download it for free. We do an event. I just upload it and go, hey, free downloads tonight or $1.
What's the URL for that? What's the platform?
Cults3D.com.
Okay. Cults3D.com.
Yeah. So if you go there and you search in their search bar, Drone Silver 999, you get like 700 of my images that I put up there. And it's like, cause the idea with that was like, corner the market in coins and print up 3D printable coins. I saw people doing it on Etsy and nobody was doing it on Cults. So I'm like, just do it. And sometimes it's, I'll I'll sit in a session watching a movie or watching a rerun or something in the background, or have YouTube podcasts or whatever playing, or some Grateful Dead show playing, and just sit and make reliefs all night.
Mm-hmm.
And I started really at the end of May, beginning of June, and I passed 700 uploads, creations, and I'd probably say 90% of them are they're all made with Mint Forged.
Right.
But 90% of the artwork that's in there was with the Relief Vision tools as well. So the point of that is, I'm trying to get everything where it's all in one place. So I don't have to go to Canva to fix something or to add a font.
Yep.
I still do that for stuff that, depends on how much work you need to do.
Maybe you need a real specific font or just a specific character, an element. Yeah. We use Canva a lot here too. It's just so easy to interact with that. It's hard to, it's so easy. It's lightweight. It's easy. It's easy to understand. It has so much versatility, and it's cheap, like it's great that way. So when it comes to this piece, the Berserker, right? So you sent us the STL file, mm-hmm. and we have the resin printer here. So we printed some. There's a learning curve on our side. We don't print a lot of stuff. Most of the resin print stuff that we do right now is just coin supplies, easels.
Right.
That's a majority of what it does. And I don't know how many we put on a plate. I think it's 25, 30 pieces, something like that. It's about that. Yeah. We make coin easels there, and they're really easy to customize for like special events, all that kind of stuff. This is something that we hadn't really considered, but our machine does a great job with it. From what I can tell, there's a few quirks we have to work out, but then we mail these to you. And do you have any with you that you made? The Berserker?
Yeah, I brought them.
Let's do some show and tell here. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we got here when it comes to the Berserker. So while he's pulling it out, the Berserker is a 1.5 ounce piece here. And so you can see we have the 3D part. We'll get some close-ups of this. So we have the 3D print here. We call that the print, I guess. I learned that. And then
the master.
The master. Ooh, that sounds really awesome. And then you take that and you use you call it Delft clay, or what do you call it? Sand?
Petrobond.
Petrobond. Okay. So you use the Petrobond. You press it, the design into there. The Petrobond picks up the image. You do both sides, and then you make your exhaust, essentially your exhaust vents and your main pour vent in there. And this is what you come up with. So we have kind of two versions here that we're working on. And we were texting back and forth. We're going to release this shortly. Once we get the prints all figured out, the masters all figured out, and we dial in the weight, because it's really kind of hard to get the exact weight. We got to tune on that a little bit, but I think we were talking about making 20 or 25 pieces. Like,
I'm excited.
What are you thinking? 25 maybe?
I think that's great.
Okay, we'll do 25 of these Berserkers. This is a first for us, and we're hoping to bring, learn from you, do more collaborative projects with you, do some of our own stuff, learn the Mint Forged software. And honestly, like, having you on the show is about getting the message out about this Mint Forged software. There's this evolution. If you want to take it there, you can. It's not as hard as it used to be. That's the thing. I think that's really welcoming for, the people that are interested in pursuing this. I might look at it and be like, oh man, I got to buy all this stuff. And then besides that, like, our thing has always been, our struggle has always been on the creative side, on the art side. Whenever we're trying to bring in anything to market, I'll be totally honest. A lot of these artists can be kind of flaky, where they ghost you, they go dark for a while. And also they'll take offense to feedback sometimes, and I've been doing custom coins and rounds since, I think the first custom we released was in 2010, maybe 2010, 2011, something like that. And so it's been part of the journey the whole way. I mean, it does end up sometimes being really difficult to bring this stuff to life if you have an idea that you believe in, and you need some help on it. So AI is coming in, Mint Forged is coming in. But I noticed you have two different finishes here. So explain what we got going on.
those are the first two prototypes, and they came in at 1.75, so I missed it by a quarter ounce. It's quarter ounce over the weight we wanted to hit.
Yeah, that's pretty close for a first try, though. So
essentially, with those, it's just I put polish on one and not the other.
Yeah.
The toning is, a lot of people will use like a liver of sulfur.
Yeah, that's what we've used. Yeah. What do you use?
I make it. I learned from a guy on YouTube, and I use a sodium hydroxide mixture with sulfur powder. It's like a 2-to-1 of the hydroxide with the powder, and then you mix that with distilled water. And the benefit of that is you can get some control. You can either do something wild with toning.
Hey,
this is not for everybody. I did not pour that, but I just brought it as an example to the one that I toned.
Yep.
Some people really love that.
Yeah, I do. We have something really similar. And, we have a process really similar that we do in-house, and we call it, again, I'm Scandinavian, we call it the Bifrost finish. Okay, because you get all the colors. Have you ever seen the Marvel movies with Thor? You see the Rainbow Bridge, the Bifrost, right? Yep. And it's got all these colors. And that, to me, the first time it came out, I was like, oh, man, that's Bifrost. And I started pouring. My journey starts back, probably maybe 2015 is when I started pouring. At the time I lived a bit out of town, and I had 15 acres and I had a barn. And so I went straight. I had the guys bring the gas out. I have propane and oxygen, and I was hand torching stuff in a ceramic crucible, pouring into a graphite mold, and then giving it these special finishes. And that brand, the brand is Asgard poured silver. So we do make some Asgard poured silver here, but I can't make the old Asgard designs because they were made for such a brief period of time, probably less than a year and a half that I was making the Asgard stuff. There are, I guess there are like collectors out there that really value some of these hard to find pieces. And so as I've looked on eBay, the Asgard stuff right now, I guess it's probably $80 to $100 an ounce if I had to guess. And so I can't in good conscience go and make the exact same designs now, because that would diminish the value of the people who, So we make other Asgard designs. We make rounds now. We make a 2-ounce round that we call the penningar. So penningar is what is in etymology, etymology is where the word penny comes from, right? And so that was a Scandinavian penny. So we make a penningar, and then we make a 1-ounce round with the Asgard stamps. But again, that's open air graphite. But yeah, we did a finish that we called the Bifrost finish. And you know this, if you've done this, it's a bit hard to control. Sometimes if you let it in there too long, it'll just turn black, And so you have to, in our process, we have to stop the toning. When it gets to the right spot, you have to use a counter agent to stop it from toning, right? And if you don't catch it in time, then it'll just turn like dark oxidized black. And then we polish those. And they get like an antique finish like these, and we call that the Mani finish, which in Norse is the moon, right? So you have Bifrost, you have moon, and then just a brilliant one we call Sol, which is sun, right? And so those are the 3 finishes that we make here that I made at Asgard Silver back in 2016, 2017. So one of my most fond memories, I have this picture. My dad has passed, and one of the last times he came and visited, we actually poured silver together in my barn, and I have that picture. My wife took a picture of us doing it. And so like when I think about those times, it just brings me back to that experience, and my dad was a welder for years. And so he's super familiar with all the gases. So the stuff I was kind of struggling with as I was learning myself, he came in right away, boom, boom, boom. Here's what you got to do. You got to dial this up, hit this, because it's all about the mixture. It's the combination. There's an art to all of this stuff. There's no real science. I would go in there and I would get it set how I wanted to. And I would take, put a mark on it. Okay, you want this knob at this spot. Okay, but what if it's more humid? It's different. Throw that all out the window. So there's so much to it that I've learned.
We could probably sit and do a 3-hour podcast on just toning.
Oh yeah. for sure. There's so much to it. And the funny thing is, you know, we get a finish really similar to this. Your process is probably totally different than ours, you know, and how you do it. I mean, we use liver of sulfur, but we put some special stuff in there to help it out too, to get the colors more vibrant, right? It's not just liver of sulfur, because liver of sulfur it'll just go black. It'll go brown and black, yellow.
When I first started, I used to think the Texas sun helped with the color.
Well, that's kind of like what sourdough in San Francisco. Like, oh, San Francisco sourdough is the best. Texas tone silver is the best.
That's right.
Well, what else do you got? You got anything else interesting?
Yeah.
Do you have any more pieces like these? The double-sided stuff? Or?
Oh yeah. I did this year I started doing the Sasquatch-by-State Collection.
Oh yeah. I've seen these. Okay. So every state, a Sasquatch for every state. Well, this is Mexico. That's
that's not a state one.
Yeah, that's not yet. Jinx. No, it's not a state. Okay, Alabama.
There's Texas.
Ooh,
so every state's a different sighting. A different sighting.
Wait, what is he doing to this bird? What is this bird?
Use your imagination. No, I figure he's taking it home for food.
Yeah, he's hunting a bird here. Texas Sasquatch. Okay, so I've been in 7th grade. I checked out pretty much every book in our middle school library about Sasquatch. So I consider myself an expert here in Sasquatch. And I do really enjoy like the local names that they give these characters, right? So in Texas, you have essentially the wood ape, they call it. In Florida, you know, I spent a few years in Florida. Florida, they call it the skunk ape out at Mayaca State Park, Florida. There you go, Florida. Is this the skunk ape? Okay, he's wrestling a gator.
Yeah, I like gator that. In Florida.
Okay, so what is this one's got some yellow tones to it. What is that? Is that just a different toning process kind of, or?
Yeah, just a couple
and you
of
have
them
slabs. These look like NGC slabs, but they're not. Like they're you buy these, you put your label on them. Here's Oklahoma with the.
Yeah, a lot of folks like the slabs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can handle the stuff, and
there's a blue tone.
Oh, California. I see what he's harvesting there. That's interesting. I guess that's fitting, right? Ohio. Okay. Ohio's got a deer again. So where does the Sasquatch come from? Like, you know
the Bigfoot round. I got a Bigfoot round of somebody on Instagram. One of my Instagram friends toned for me in 2021. Yeah. And I had this Bigfoot round and 2-ounce Bigfoot round in my stack forever. And this year, they had this was actually before the viral AI Bigfoot videos. The VO3 stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, dang, I bet I had an experience in the late 80s that's kind of always stuck with me. And as I made one or two, and after I made a couple, they started coming out of the woodworks. I saw this sighting. I saw Bigfoot, this. I had the week that I was really heavy into doing these, or the couple of weeks, I had like 4 different people request a different sighting. So the the Alabama one there, that was the first one that was actually described to me from their sighting.
Really?
Yeah, and we made it together over the phone, and I'm like sending him the image back and forth. He's like, "That's it. That's what I saw."
Wow.
And I'm like, "All right, that's cool." So I've only made about 17 of them. We haven't done all the states yet, and we did Mexico and Canada kind of for fun.
I remember being a kid. Here's maybe I'm oversharing, but I remember being a kid riding in the car down the interstate, and if we got out into the boonies, I'd always be like intently staring out the window, like, "Oh man, I might see something here. This looks like a Sasquatch kind of area," but never seen one. So I would love to. That'd be awesome.
I was with 3 other people. So
oh wow!
And we all
you want to share
the same thing.
You want to share? Like,
I got to put a filter on for some of it, but I'll tell you, basically, after the sighting, we went home, and my mom didn't believe us.
Right.
We were relatively young. I think we were about 17 at the time, maybe 17 or 18, and all of our minds were blown. And we get home, we tell my mom the story, and she's like, yeah, she calls BS. And so she puts us all in different rooms and gives us a piece of paper and pencil, says, draw what you saw.
Oh, no way.
And we all drew the same thing.
Oh,
and so
man.
she believed us after that. Yeah. Because
that's crazy.
She didn't think we were prepared to do that. We weren't.
Yeah. But, so just you and a few other people. That's crazy. All right. Well, okay. So we're getting near the end here. One thing that I want to kind of close it out with is, I want you to envision what do we got here?
These are my Sugar Skull ones.
Oh, I like that one.
The Sugar Skull series.
They kind of have I like that. And what's this? Like, I've seen this a bunch of places.
That's
the Jack Silver Skull. Is
yeah,
that like your logo?
Different little logos for different coins.
Different logos.
That was just
what you should do? Well, okay, I have a couple of ideas for a series that we should work on together. So we'll have to talk about that after this. I don't want to put on the podcast and then someone else do something.
I've been waiting for you to tell me. I'm like, I don't got to beg you to tell me what I got to do here.
No, we got a couple ideas, but I want to share those with you. Okay, so let's say someone is just kind of like dipping their toes in the water when it comes to precious metals in general. Maybe they're considering, getting those buffalo rounds. Maybe, I don't know what the journey is for the person that you interact with. Are they finding you like totally organically on TikTok? Just like, oh man, like, is it that, or is it someone who's like actually, actively searching for it?
That's a good question. I think, everybody's searching for something.
Yeah.
At some point in their life. And it is a little bit of a timing thing, because it's like you gotta be prepared. I know a lot of people that want to, but might not have $1,000 to spend to really get into it, So it just I think the timing of it, when you know that you get a calling and something inspires you to do something, you just act.
Yeah.
And it happens. You've done it.
Yeah.
Multiple different things.
Yeah.
And you it's like an internal, I got to do something. So
get that.
Those people that are kind of searching out there, I don't think they always expect it. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't. I had.
Yeah, you had no association.
10 years ago, right? You just said, "Oh, you're doing this in 10 years." I'd be like, right.
Yeah. What is that?
What are you talking about?
What is that? What do you mean? Yeah.
What's that mean?
Yeah. So maybe in a way, you just kind of like go for it, chase it, pursue it. I think there's a tendency to get so caught up in just kind of like getting by. I think I know myself, I've been guilty of it too, where it's like, hey, we have around here, we have a responsibility to our customers. People have some money with us. We got to get these orders out the door. We got to take care of people here from a business standpoint. And you can kind of lose some of the joy that it brings to you in that.
True.
And so I don't think, I think people need to listen to themselves a little bit more when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, hey, you feel like you need something, you probably do. You need something to expand, right? I think it's kind of like a fundamental part of being a human is just like growth, right? Whatever it is, you've had these varied interests with the guitars, with music. Obviously, you said you played in a band for years. You worked in that industry. You did the drone thing. Now you're doing the precious metals thing, and you're doing the software, and you did the Bitcoin and all these different things. So like to me, you're kind of an example of like, hey, if going after it, chasing that. I don't know that it's necessarily
it's a mixture,
a dream,
I think, of ADD
but like,
and have an idea, run with it, and then another idea.
And like feed that drive within you of like the pursuit of like growth and knowledge and those types of things. So I guess when it comes to just like a piece of advice, you would give to someone who's like, hey, I've been looking at doing this. What do you think? What would you say to someone like that who's looking for a little bit of guidance or?
Listen to a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
That's key. And I'm sure it's like that with everything, right? You can't just take one perspective. I don't want anybody that's honestly learning from me to just take my perspective. You got to learn from a lot of different people who've done it. Like I said earlier, I still learn to this day. And, after 5 years of making molds, when a couple of weeks ago, something hits me in the head, it's like, dang, it took me 5 years to figure that out. Did I forget this? And just am I relearning it now? Did I already know this? It's like, so there's I guess I'm trying to say there is a growth period, but you really never stop growing. Somebody who's going to, just get into it, listen to a lot of different people, get a lot of different experience by doing it yourself over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail a bunch of times.
You're going to. Yeah. And I love the philosophy that they're not failures. They're just one step closer to success. Because, I don't have any failures.
Right.
Could I have had things that went better? Sure. Could I have decisions that I made that went better? Absolutely.
Right.
But just keep pushing. And if you really, really have a desire to do it, it's like anything. I think, you can really get a lot out of it just personally and enjoyment of it, whether you stick with it or not,
Yeah.
That's the other thing about this. It's an asset, so I tell anybody that's pouring, I did think of something. Okay. Don't pour anything, or don't make anything that you're not willing to keep or remelt. And it's like, if you got this mindset where I want to make stuff and sell it, you're kind of jumping the gun. Yep. You want to make stuff and make stuff for you that you really like. It's really cool. Like this stuff I make, not really because somebody necessarily asked me to, but I wanted to. I have a lot of things that people have asked me to do that I never did. And to them, I'm probably that flaky artist, because it's just, I wasn't feeling it, so it never came to be. I've got a couple other collaborations that I'm doing with some other coin sellers right now. I love the collaborations. They're great. I think community point. There are people that are looking for some of those pieces from those early collaborations, and that's always a cool feeling. So there's the rewards, you can't expect them right off the bat. But it's just that pursuit is for me the reward, more than it is selling anything. I think just that enjoyment, it's like that was the same way with music. I've kind of lived my life on hobbies. It's like I had a hobby of playing guitar, playing music. How can I make a living off this? Run a music store. I enjoy flying a drone. How can I not just keep sinking myself in a hole because I crashed it? Let's learn how to fix them and start a repair business. So it's like the hobbies have always can transcend into something that's it's viable.
Yeah.
And that's really what my approach was with the silver. Take a hobby and see if it can turn into something that's viable. And it's not anything that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
It's all been done before.
It's just your version of it, right?
Right.
It's your expression of it.
So anybody can do that. And that's,
absolutely.
I think the whole TikTok thing is, the algorithm brought you here for a reason. I tell people that all the time. And there are people that algorithm, if they're a stacker, somehow the AI knows, and it brought us together because it knows that either I'm a stacker or it knows that I like to pour, and it really is great at bringing those connections. And that's really why I think I got carried away with TikTok. Like 99% of my time is there now. I heavily neglected the other social media platforms, and honestly, some friends that I made there, because TikTok is such a whirlwind, and it's brought me so many new connections, and everybody it's bringing new connections for. So like with the Meltdown competition, we have 11 people out there that are all, going through this exact same thing. And it's so cool, to watch their evolution and see how it affects their life or doesn't.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe in a lot of ways, you're able to to kind of be the mentor there for them that you felt like you didn't have. I'm sure you had some people that influenced you and some people you learned from, but you know, the little nuance, it's that, you know, the little touches that you found had made your product better, your process better, those types of things. You're able to share that. So I think that's awesome. Okay. So Jack, before we go, if people are interested in your story, I mean, obviously I love your story. If people are interested in following you, where do they need to go? If they're interested in producing these products themselves, where do they connect with you?
That's a great question. DroneSilver999.com is my website.
Right.
Most of the works that I do, I share with my friends, relationships that I've built online. Mm-hmm. So I'm not, I have a shop on the website, but there's nothing they can buy there right now. So I just kind of doing requests. Just reach out to me personally. My phone number's on the website. TikTok, JackSilver999FS is my main account there. And that'll take you to the Drone Silver 999 information. So
right on.
That's really the easiest way. I really enjoy sharing, you know, the makes. I'm not like I'm trying to withdraw from that old corporate mentality, you know, so I don't aggressively pursue some of the commercial areas that I probably should be.
But you're having fun at least, right? I mean,
that's all
I watch your
matters.
lives. You're having a lot of fun.
Yeah. But I'm easy to reach out to.
Yeah.
Really easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And anybody that wants to talk and chat, I actually have time to do it, you know? And I'll just leave with saying, you know, that was one of the first things I experienced, you know, when I got into this is, you know, I'd try to talk to somebody and, you know, I'd ask a question and you get a 1-word answer. You know, what's that? You know, how do I do this? You know, and 20 ton. And I was like, oh, okay. You don't want to talk.
Not really the answer.
Yeah. So I think that's a really important thing is just when you're working with a community, talk to more of the people.
Yeah.
And they will, they get more inspired easily when we actually talk to each other, you know,
all right,
and have some fun.
Well, we got a bunch more coming. Hopefully we'll be able to have you back as we get some more episodes under our belt with the Asset Arsenal podcast. And so I'm looking forward to it, man. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.